Alright guys, welcome to Next Gen Rugger. So, we continue in our All-Star Fantasy Draft, and this time we're going to be looking at the Highveld Lions. So if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as bell notification, and as soon as new videos are released, you'll be the first to know. So, voting was fast and furious with this one, and we got over 1,000 votes on this poll, guys. So, a lot of thanks to the community and everyone involved, and let's get straight into the list. So, at loose head, we had Jan-Hendrik Bessiger from Monument. Very solid player, was part of the first team squad last year. This year he was a starter, definitely would have made Craven weak. Who knows, could have been pushing for SA Schools or SA Schools A selection. Very tough player, very strong. Part of one of the best packs in the country this year. Definitely a player with a bright future. No indication as to what he's going to be doing quite yet, but we're waiting on news, so it'll be very interesting to see. Then moving on to the next position, we have at hooker, Tonga Mbatha from Mpekus. Now, Tonga might look like a big friendly giant, but he's not. He's a very, very tough and solid player. I believe he's at Noordhoevel last year and just transferred to Mpekus. Definitely one of the leaders in their pack over there, very physical player. Definitely would have been pushing for Craven Week honours. And I think he's in grade 11 now, so he still has another year of rugby left in him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he develops, and definitely a name to look out for next year. Then at tight head, no surprise here, has to be Pohlmann. Now, you guys remember the beginning of last year, we were already talking about Heiko when we watched him at the World Schools Festival. And he would have probably been a starter for SA Schools this year. Such an unbelievable talent, hard worker. If you follow his Instagram account, you see he's at the gym at all hours of the morning. We've also covered him quite extensively in terms of the prospects turn pro. So you guys that have been following the channel closely will know that he's going to be moving to the Lions next year. And they're very lucky to have him. Very solid player, bright future in the game. Heiko's definitely going all the way in our opinion. Then our first lock is Oosthuizen from Jansen, a very, very promising player. Definitely one of the top young locks in the country. He's another grade 11. So he'll definitely be looking to make his mark next year. I mean, he's going to be walking into the Craven Week team. And I think he'll definitely be pushing for SA Schools honours next year. Very, very talented young player. And thank goodness he's got another year in the game. So just remember this name because he's going to make a massive impact next year. I believe his nickname is Grasnay or something like that. But we'll go into more detail about that next year when we obviously discuss the players to watch. And then his lock partner, another grade 11, and that is Dries Du Preez from Monument. This guy's a giant. I mean, if you had to take a look at him, you would not think this is a 17-year-old or 16-year-old. I don't know his exact age, but he's in grade 11. I mean, he's built like a man already, you know. So he just had the one game against Pole Boys, you know, still feeling his way in the Mona's coaching system and all the rest of it, but still performed very well. But definitely going to be a very big name next year. And it's Mona's centenary year, so him along with Waldo van der Berg and Roger Peterson, players like that, they're going to be leading the assault for Monument. And obviously, you know, centenary is a big year for a school, so you know that these guys are going to lead for the front. And I think Monas are definitely going to be a team to watch out for this for next year. This year they were going to be amazing as well. On paper, one of the best teams in the country. Tough game against Pole Boys when they went down 17 points to 10. But still made a good account of themselves, and I just think this guy's got a very bright future in the game. He's a giant, guys. Just watch out for him next year. Then we have at blindside Mouton. I mean, who else could it really be? This guy's one of the best blindsides in the country. I have to give a special shout out to Joshua Pimstein from King David's, I think it is. Very special young player, and the voting was very tight and the community came out for him, so it's quite impressive to see a player from a smaller school push forward like that. But at the end of the day, the community got behind Reinhard, and I think fair enough. This guy's just an unbelievable talent. He's gonna be moving to the Bulls next year, and the Bulls are just looking so good at junior level, especially now that I know that Herschelle Du Preez will be moving there as a coach. So, I mean, things are looking very, very good at the Bulls right now. And I can guarantee you Reinhard is going to be part of the senior system a lot sooner than you guys think. Such a special player. Unbelievable in the breakdown. Very athletic. A hard worker. Everything that is needed to succeed at the game. I mean, he can go all the way. He can go all the way to the green and gold. I do believe that. Then at open side, we have another special player, Quinton Olivier. He's a Transvaluer at the moment, and he's actually just signed a contract to go play in France. And there were quite a few local offers for him, but ultimately decided to continue his career there. He's he's a humble and hard-working young guy. He's had to overcome his issues as well. He had injury kept him out of the Craven Week reckoning last year. Would have walked into the Craven Week team this year. And, very similar to how Renzo Du Plessis did it last year in Craven Week, where he really stood out. I think Quinton would have been one of those players that would have really stood out at Craven Week and made people take notice. It's tough when you go to a smaller school. I'm not trying to disrespect Transvaal when I'm saying that. But it's obviously, when you got 5 or 6 guys in your team that could be playing for SA schools, like if you had Monument, Duffy's, Grey, Bishops, Bloom, whatever, it's a lot easier to get noticed. So it's tough to get noticed, when you're at one of the smaller schools. And, the problem with Transvaal as well, they get a lot of their talent poached. And he stayed loyal to the school, and him and his partner in crime, Gareth Graham, very physical players, very talented players. And I definitely think, if I look at Quinton, he can play lock, he can play open side. I think he's got a future at 8th man as well. And, if Paul Willemse can end up representing the French, if Scott Spedding can end up representing the French at international rugby, don't be too surprised if you don't see this guy wearing the French jersey in the future. Just keep an eye out on him. Very talented player. 8th man from Hulpmekaar, Nathan Lanus. Now, Nathan's a very, very talented player, very physical, very hard guy. Also likes to compete at the breakdown. Got good pace for a loose forward. I've watched a bit of his footage. I definitely think Hulpmekaar would have grown as a team this season. In the first couple of games, you could argue that they're a little bit rusty, but on paper, they've got an amazing team, a lot of talent over there, and I think they could have been in the reckoning top 10, top 15 position. I think he would have made Craven Week, no doubt in my mind he would have made Craven Week, and I'm not 100% sure on his future plans. Nothing's been announced just yet, but I think this is a dark horse. I think this is someone that you guys got to watch very, very carefully. Big player with a big future. Then moving on to scrum off, we have Franco Hallett from Monument. Now, sometimes I have to question my knowledge on the schoolboy game, guys. Sometimes I just have to question my knowledge because, to me, Franco's a top 5 prospect in his position. He's an unbelievable talent. I mean, he was part of the first team last year, and they did very well last year. He's definitely going to be one of the leaders of the first team this year, and yet, from what I understand, no unions come and offered him a contract. To me, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't know anything. But I suspect I do because I have been contacted by quite a few people from unions and scouts and agencies and, to get my opinion on things. So I think I do know a bit. So to me, it's just insane that he hasn't been signed yet. It's absolutely insane. I don't know what's going on. If you take a look at his tactical kicking, it's on point. He can kick for goal. He's got pace. He's got power for a guy of that size. He's an unbelievably gifted scrum off and very underrated. And from what I understand, he's getting a couple of bites from varsity cup sides and all the rest of it. But he shouldn't be bothering with varsity cup. If I was someone in a union, I'd be picking this guy up straight away. That's just my opinion. Like I said, maybe I don't know anything, but to me, it's just absolute insanity that there hasn't been a contract offer out for him yet. Anything solid. I don't know. Maybe it's changed. I'm just talking about rumors that I'm hearing. But he's someone I'd be snapping up straight away. To me, it's absolute insanity. No one's actually picked this guy up. So, if I was at if I was at one of the other unions, I'd definitely be looking at this and thinking, geez, I can get myself a special player here because no one else is looking at him. And let me guarantee you something else. If the season had continued 8 or 9 games in, every union would be knocking on this guy's door. So to me, it's just crazy. And I really rate this kid, great kid, humble, hard work rate, doesn't expect everything to be handed to him on a plate, has had to overcome his challenges. So I think he'll go very far in the game. If he doesn't get any love in South Africa, I'm pretty sure that, the European teams that'll be jumping at the opportunity to sign this youngster. Then at fly-half, we have Sebastian Watney, another very special player. As far as I remember, he's part of the EPD. He's a Mpekus youngster and very, very gifted, very intelligent player, guys. You must check this guy out. Very, very high rugby IQ. I think the Mpekus backline would have been very exciting this year, especially with him at pivot. So it'll be very interesting to see how he develops. Someone that I don't know if he's signed a contract or anything like that yet. But I think someone that's definitely gifted and has got a big future in the game. Then we have at left wing, Sifiso Dlamini from Jeppe. I mean, you want to talk about jet shoes, we're talking about jet shoes. Yeah, this guy's got unbelievable pace. I think he would have been one of the top try scorers in the North Vaal region this year. Jeppe did look like it had a team with some potential this year. In previous years they've produced some very good teams, very exciting teams, and some of the talent that's been coming out of the school has been unreal. And I think Spuy is their director of rugby, and he knows how to identify talent and how to nurture it. And this is one of the guys that was a special talent that I was really looking forward to seeing play this year. But I don't know anything about his future, what his plans are, and all the rest of that. But I definitely think this is someone that's probably going to tear it up on the 7th circuit to start off with, but definitely has a bright future in the 15 game once he bulks up a little bit. Then at inside centre, we have Marco Botha from Monument, another Monument player. So he was captain for Monument this year. Very, very, very high rugby IQ. I think he's been signed by the Bulls as well. But yeah, very, very intelligent player. And I was really excited to see how he would have gone this year, because I think he would have led from the front for Monument. Like I said, very high rugby IQ, a lot of pace, knows how to open up the gaps. And the thing is, his outside centre partner this year would have been Waldo van den Berg, who I've spoken about a lot, who I really rate. And I think that would have been one of the most devastating centre combinations in the country this year. So unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to see him play, because in the north, as far as I know, they've cancelled the whole season. But he's still going to have a bright future in the game. Very underrated player, so just keep your eye on him. So, as I said, the Bulls are making some exciting signings, guys, and this is one of them. Then on the outside, we have Mbatha van der Spuy from Mpekus. He's just signed with Western Province. Another very, very, very special player, guys. Searing pace, very, very good on the defence. And like I said, he would have been part of that very exciting Mpekus backline. I think that would have been very, very exciting this year. Played very entertaining rugby. Mbatha would have definitely pushed for, he would have walked into the Craven Week team. He would have pushed for SA school selection. I definitely think he could have been there. A high probability he would have been there. And I think the fact that he's moving down to the Western Cape, just in terms of his style of game and like how he likes to play open, running rugby and all the rest of it, I definitely think that he made the right move, and definitely exciting to see what's in store for him in terms of the future. Then at right wing, we have Herschelle Goodman, and I don't know anything about this guy's contract status either, guys, but he's unreal. And what I try to do with the players this year was, if they did play any games, I wanted them to be, basically selecting the position that they played. So Herschelle started off the game this year against Paul Boys at right wing. And, the coach there at Monument is an exceptional coach. Don't get me wrong. And I just think for myself personally, I would have put Herschelle at fly-off. I think that would have just completely changed the dynamic of the game. I still rate him as a fly-off. I just don't think I think the only player that can sort of do something similar to him at fly-off would probably be Sasha Mngomezulu from Bishops. They're very similar in that sense, where they can basically be completely unpredictable and they can open up gaps where it just doesn't seem like a gap can open up. And I think with the professional structure, so to speak, in schoolboy rugby today, with the level of coaching, you got to think about 10, 15, 20 years ago, you'd have never had like a coach chart like you have at Monument and Engelo from Paul Boys against each other. I mean, these are two coaches that could coach at Currie Cup level, at Super Rugby level. They're very gifted coaches. But for me, I think my approach to that game, and I really rate Armand van Noordwijk as well. He was playing fly-off there. But for me personally, I probably would have looked at something along the lines of putting in Herschelle fly-off, maybe putting Armand at fullback, and then probably had Van der Walt, Luan at wing. And I think that would have been exceptional. I really, really think it would have been exceptional. I can't explain in words how much I rate this guy. He's just one of the most exciting players in the country. Every time he gets a ball, you don't know what's going to happen. Now, yes, there has been talk at sometimes like, his creativity can get the best out of him, and sometimes put his team under a bit of pressure. But that's sort of a go with the flow type scenario. You got to let a guy like this play his natural game. Just give him the freedom to play his natural game, and you'll learn from the mistakes that he's made, because he's still a youngster. He's only 18 years old or 17 years old, so he's got plenty of time to learn from his mistakes. And I think that's a point to me, is that if he makes the mistakes and he learns from them, it's only going to make him a better player. And I think the time to make mistakes is at school level. But at the same time, with coaching nowadays, I mean, these guys are coaches, directors of rugby at schools. Their salary depends on results, so they can't take that many risks. So it's a catch-22 situation. That's why sometimes for the truly gifted players, the enigmas, so to speak, sometimes it is better to go to a smaller school where there's less pressure and you can play with complete freedom. But I'm telling you now, for me, Herschelle's not a wing. He's either fly-off or fullback. Personally, I think he plays best off instinct, rather than having time to scan the field and plan his next move. I think he just plays well off the cuff, just on instinct. You throw the ball to him, he basically quickly scans the situation and he makes a move. And boy, does he make some exciting moves. So yes, he is selected on the right wing for the purposes of this draft. But in my opinion, definitely someone that can be one of the most special fly-offs in the country, someone that has got the ability to become a world-class fly-off. I really do believe that, even at fullback. I think if I was a union, I'd definitely sign him. Pathway to fly-off, it's going to be quite tough. I think in terms of fullback, I think there's more scope for him, but you've got to be patient with him and let him develop in the position. Because like I said, his instinctive playing is absolutely amazing. What he just needs to work on is that ability to sort of scan the field and plan the next move, within 3 to 5 seconds instead of a split second. So tactical awareness and planning, for want of a better word. And I think that will come with time and with experience. But if there's a union out there that has the opportunity to sign him, you'd be completely insane not to sign this guy. Same as Franco. This is just insanity to me. I look at some of the guys that are getting signed, and then I look at some of the guys that are not getting signed. I'm thinking to myself, like, what is going on over here? I don't know, guys. Maybe we should do a crowdfund and buy ourselves a Super Rugby franchise or a Pro 14 franchise, and we should be able to select our own team. I think we do pretty well, in terms of the community. Anyway, final player, very special guy, Mpekus from Kes. So he's in grade 11 as well, so he's got another year. And this was a very, very tight vote, but ultimately Kelly just squeezed it. And Kelly's a very, very special player, guys. I can't explain this guy's explosiveness. I mean, the thing is, you got a lot of guys with pace, but with pace off the mark, this guy's one of the top prospects in the country. It's just like, you can be in a standing position and next thing, out of nowhere, he's gone. It's absolutely amazing to see. And, there's good genetics in this Mpekus line, because I believe his older brother or relative, was part of the SA schools and the SA under-20 selection. I think Kennedy is his name. So definitely good stock there in the Mpekus family. And I think Kelly's going to be definitely making a big name for himself in the future, and someone we got to watch very, very carefully for next year. If Kelly continues his development, he will walk into the SA schools team next year. he will walk into it. There's no doubt that he's just so good you can't ignore him. So I think it's someone very exciting and someone we personally are going to be watching very closely for next year. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. And next week we'll be releasing the winners of the Eastern Sharks All-Star Fantasy Draft, which incorporates players from the KZN Sharks area as well as the Mpumalanga Pumas area. And on Monday we'll be opening the voting for the Cape Storm, which is our final team, and then we'll be going on to our All-Star Series. So, have a great week further, gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers. Bye.